Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thank you for starting your day with us. We are going to begin this morning with that deadly shooting at a mosque and school in San Diego, which has left the local Muslim community in a state of shock and mourning. 3 people were killed when 2 teenage shooters stormed San Diego's largest Islamic center on Monday and opened fire. Police say they responded to the incident within minutes.
In heartbreaking images, adults and children were seen running from the scene, escorted by police. Among the victims was the mosque's security guard, identified by the Islamic Center as Amin Abdullah. The 2 suspects were found dead in a vehicle a few blocks away from the site of the shooting. Police say both are believed to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Law enforcement identified them as 17-year-old Kane Clark and 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez. Police say they're investigating the shooting as a hate crime. NBC News national correspondent Morgan Chesky has the latest.
Police and SWAT teams responding to the Islamic Center of San Diego to a deadly shooting.
Multiple victims. Shooters are not in custody.
Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately what appeared to be deceased victims out in front.
Police with guns drawn approaching the building. Grade school children at a school inside rushed out hand in hand. Officers began going classroom by classroom to secure the building.
They did have to breach doors to get into all of the different rooms. Extremely chaotic.
One of the victims in front of the building, a security guard, seen on the ground lying in a pool of blood. Witnesses describing a confrontation with the gunman.
Supposedly, someone walked up, showed a weapon to the security guard. Security guard pulled his weapon. They started firing.
Police say that security guard prevented an even worse tragedy.
One of the deceased is a security guard that works there, and I think played a pivotal role in assisting from this being much worse.
Police describing the suspects as 2 teenagers, both male, found dead in a vehicle off-site.
The suspects at this point appear to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. There were no officers involved in firing their weapons.
And officers describing another scene 2 blocks away, where the suspects apparently started firing at a landscaper.
There was a landscaper that was doing his work that was shot at, and fortunately was not hit.
The shooters' identities and potential motives yet to be released.
We are considering this a hate crime.
This message from the mayor.
I want to assure our Muslim community that we will do everything it takes to make sure that you can feel safe in this city.
All right, our thanks to Morgan for that report. Well, let's get more on the police response and investigation with NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh. Jim, always good to have you with us. So the police say the initial moment of concern here, it was not actually when the active shooter call came in, but it was a call before the attack from the mother of one of the suspects, telling police that she was afraid that her 17-year-old son was suicidal and saying multiple firearms were missing from their house, that her car wasn't at home. Walk us through the importance of that call in the police's initial search and how that may have impacted their response to the shooting.
Well, it's critical that she made the call, the mom made the call, and San Diego PD tried to locate them. They went to the high school where one of them attended. They went to a location near a mall where the license plate reader picked up the car. They were all hands on deck in San Diego trying to locate these kids when the report comes in of an active shooter at the mosque, Savannah. So they were doing what they were trying to do. But you have a person who you think is suicidal who has access to firearms. That's where we begin a problem. A juvenile, 2 juveniles, 17 and 19. And, it appears they're maybe inculcated with just hate, probably on the web, deeply on the web, hating Muslims and probably a whole lot of other people. But I think the critical thing that in Morgan's report that we heard this morning that wasn't clear yesterday from the witness that you just ran was the security guard drew his weapon to repel these 2 craven coward attackers. So he drew his weapon. Now, did he get a chance to fire? Did he wound one or both? And then they had to run away. So pretty clearly that the security guard as a hero was in the breach, and maybe these other 2 persons who were killed were helping the security guard, also standing in the breach, and they repel the attack by these poltroons. I mean, cowards all the way. So that's we need more facts. Were they shot? What are the guns? And who, if anyone, was egging these guys on?
Jim, you mentioned that this is being investigated as a hate crime. Law enforcement officials say investigators are looking at possible anti-Islamic writings in the suspect's car. How does that impact the investigation moving forward? And are you surprised at the age of the suspects?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, the internet is a cesspool of hate, and young people are on it all the time. And I've worked many attacks on houses of worship, synagogues, mosques, Islamic centers, Christian churches, from any and all kind of attackers, bombs, fire bombs, shootings, over the years. And churches are a center of community. They're gathering places. They're seen as, places of influence in the community, places of power, places of goodness. And the guys that want to attack them, they want to do it for evil, whether they're, neo-Nazis or devil worshippers or, just influenced by the wars in the Middle East, which we seen recent attack in Michigan on the synagogue because the man's family was killed in Lebanon by an Israeli strike. So there's a lot of influences. They're going to find a lot of answers. But the bottom line is, if you know somebody's suicidal, call early. Don't let them have access to guns. And if you know somebody that's wrapped up in hate, I guarantee you the hate is going to destroy them too. They'll destroy others, but their hate will destroy themselves. It always happens.
All right, Jim Kavanaugh, thanks as always for being with us.
A day after threatening Iran, writing that there won't be anything left of them, President Trump is backing off. He called off an attack plan for today, once again claiming a deal to end the war is very close.
I was asked by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and some others if we could put it off for 2 or 3 days, a short period of time, because they think that they are getting very close to making a deal.
Despite President Trump's repeated assurances, talks over a deal that would end the conflict and reopen that critical Strait of Hormuz appeared to have stalled in recent weeks. Over the weekend, President Trump posted on Truth Social that Iran had, quote, better get moving fast. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said Tehran was not intimidated by his threats.
NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor joins us from Washington with more on this. Sahil, good morning. So we've seen President Trump repeatedly tout being close to a deal in recent weeks, but it does appear little progress has actually been made. Tell us more about what the president says was behind this decision and where we think things stand this morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. The details here are all a little bit murky, but here's what we know based on what President Trump is saying and what the Iranians are saying. The president said he was asked by U.S. allies, including the leaders of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, to hold off on the strikes because they think an acceptable deal will be made, one that, in Trump's words, effectively ends Iran's nuclear ambitions. Therefore, he said he's calling it off, but he maintained that the U.S. military will be ready to attack at a moment's notice if a deal is not made and if he changes his mind. He also told reporters, Trump did, quote, I put it off for a little while, hopefully maybe forever, end quote, while they negotiate an agreement. Now, as you mentioned, this is part of a pattern. President Trump, he talks tough, he issues threats, sometimes he imposes deadlines, and then he backpedals just ahead of that deadline, setting negotiations that may or may not come to fruition. Iran, for its part, said it's not intimidated by U.S. threats, but it did say the process of talks was ongoing and that the concerns have been conveyed to the American side. Note the use of passive voice here, which emphasizes just how much the U.S. and Iran seem to be relying on these intermediaries to try to get something done here. And of course, we all know that the biggest advantage that Iran has is their asymmetric ability to prevent free passage of cargo and ships through the Strait of Hormuz. This is an advantage that they seem extremely reluctant to give up, as reluctant as President Trump in the United States is eager to reopen the strait.
Sahil, as the war continues, we're learning a lot of Americans are not happy with this choice to confront Iran. We have a new poll here. It's from the New York Times. Siena poll found that most voters think President Trump made the wrong decision going to war with Iran. What else did we learn here?
Yeah, this poll is full of flashing red warning signs for President Trump and his party ahead of the midterm elections. You have to start with the fact that Donald Trump was elected in 2024 primarily to bring down costs and to avoid new wars. That is what he campaigned on. And just objectively, the opposite has happened. And voters are giving him low marks for it. Take a look at some of these numbers here. President Trump's approval rating in this high-quality poll, which is well trusted, it pointed to a lot of the warning signs for President Biden and the Democrats ahead of the 2024 election. 37% approval rating for Trump. On the economy, which used to be his strongest issue, 33%. He's deep underwater. He's underwater on the war with Iran, 31%. The cost of living, again, the single biggest issue that got him elected, he's at 28%, 42 points underwater. The GOP is going to have a bad election in November if these numbers persist, guys, and that's why Republicans are eager to end this war, to reopen the strait, for gas prices to come down. They need President Trump's numbers on the economy to go up. Otherwise, they could be looking at a blue wave.
Sahil, let's shift gears to Capitol Hill. Your beat, the administrator of the FAA, set to testify before a Senate subcommittee today, and at issue is the agency's failures in that fatal collision between a military helicopter and a commercial jet. Happened at D.C.'s Reagan National back in 2025. What can we expect there?
We can expect the FAA Administrator Brian Bedford to tell Congress today that the agency failed to act on warnings before that fatal collision about 16 months ago at DCA, which left 67 people dead. Brian Bedford expects to tell the Senate Commerce Subcommittee in prepared testimony, quote, "Our airspace system was providing warning signals prior to that tragic evening. The issue was not a lack of data. It was a failure to translate that data into action." He will say that gap is what the FAA is urgently closing now, guys.
All right. Sahil, thank you so much.
Well, as part of a settlement lawsuit brought against the government by President Trump, the Justice Department announced it is creating a nearly $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. Its goal is to compensate allies of the president who feel they may have been unjustly investigated and prosecuted by the federal government. It comes in exchange for President Trump dropping a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over his leaked tax returns.
The DOJ says the president would walk away from that lawsuit and other claims of damage in exchange for creating this new fund. Officials say it would set up a, quote, systematic process to hear and redress claims of others who suffered weaponization and lawfare. Government watchdog groups and Democrats are calling it corrupt and unconstitutional.
NBC News senior justice reporter Ryan Riley joins us now on this with more. Ryan, good morning. So this was created ahead of court deadlines this week in that IRS case, and it would have required the Trump administration to explain whether there was an actual case to be heard. Unusual here because the president controls the DOJ. Walk us through what the president claims in this lawsuit and how it led to this, to the Justice Department creating this fund.
Yeah, so this all dates back to the leak of some of the information regarding his tax returns. But, that's obviously a huge, massive sum to talk about a $10 million lawsuit. And, you would question how that would actually play out in court. That seems like an insurmountable amount for them to possibly get to if this were to play out, through normal means. But obviously, you had the president as the head of the executive branch on the defense side of the table, and you also had him on the plaintiff side of the table. So it's a very odd situation here. And the judge had some questions about that. In this case, the Justice Department never responded to the lawsuit, right? So because they moved to dismiss this case, the plaintiffs moved to dismiss this case before the defense, meaning the Justice Department had really responded. The judge had to dismiss the case last night because there was not really, a case to be had. The courts are all about conflict, right? And whether or not there's actually two sides to the issue. And what the judge was exploring here and brought in outside experts to review is there actually a controversy here? And all the outside experts said that there were questions that she could continue to ask about whether or not there actually was a controversy.
So, Ryan, to be specific here, the amount for the fund is actually $1.776 billion. There's some symbolism there, of course. 1776 is the year the U.S. gained its independence. So this raises a lot of questions here. Who determines who's going to be eligible to be compensated, who's paying for it, and ultimately, does it appear to be legal?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't just land on that sum. You're exactly right. That was, that's the symbolic amount. What this money is going to do if this all goes through, and there's a lot of legal efforts to try to stop this from happening in the first place. I think we can expect some lawsuits certainly in the future. It's unclear how successful those will be, but I think there'll also be some political pushback to that. You have seen Democrats and some Republicans raise objections to this because a lot of this would be behind the scenes. So instead of playing playing out in open court where there'd actually be, a conflict, and you would have lawyers ideally representing the interests of taxpayers. What this will do instead is sort of bring this behind the scenes. It will all be decided by this panel of 5 people who are appointed by the Attorney General and can be fired at whim by the president whenever he wants, according to the way this is set up. So it sort of sets up this idea that a lot of this could be happening behind the scenes. I think you're going to see a lot of this pushback. Expect lawsuits in the future. I don't think this issue is just going to instantly go away.
Ryan, also Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche issued this memo establishing the fund. What he says here is the quote, machinery of government should never be weaponized against any American, and that the DOJ is looking to make right the wrongs that were previously done. How are Democrats responding to this?
Yeah, there has been a lot of pushback. What's also interesting here is that there had been some questions within the January 6th community about whether or not Todd Blanche sort of was supportive of this taxpayer payouts for January 6th defendants. And, the memo itself doesn't explicitly mention January 6th, but this is certainly where this all could be headed. I think you're just going to see continued pushback from Democrats and questions about who that money is going to go to. Remember, there's someone sitting in in state prison in Florida who thought that they were going to get this payout and actually bribed child victims of their sexual abuse because they were with potential payouts from this expected fund. So a lot of these January 6th rioters have gone on to commit all sorts of different crimes, including, molesting children, in which they're now spending the rest of their lives behind bars for. So I think you're going to continue to see a lot of pushback on these potential payouts, and Democrats sort of doing, I think, whatever they can to sort of stand in the way.
All right, Ryan Riley, thank you so much.
Today is a busy day in politics with voters heading to the polls for primaries across 6 states.
Yeah, voters will cast ballots in Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. The winners of these races will advance to the general election, which will take place this year on November 3rd. That is 168 days from now.
In case you're counting. For more on what we can expect, let's bring in Carrie Dan, managing editor of the Cook Political Report. Carrie, good to have you with us. So one race we're certainly keeping an eye on today is going to be in the state of Kentucky, its 4th congressional district, the most expensive House primary in history. The incumbent, of course, is the Republican Congressman Thomas Massie. He's looking to win another term. He's publicly clashed with President Trump for years, most notably over the Jeffrey Epstein files. But he is being primaried, so walk us through the race and just the amount of influence the president hopes to have on tonight's outcome.
Right. This race is going to be just the latest data point in how the president has a grip on the Republican Party. We've seen in recent weeks in Indiana, for example, we saw the president successfully primarying lawmakers who disagreed with him on redistricting. Over the weekend, we saw Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who voted to impeach the president after January 6th, losing his primary. Thomas Massie is the next person in the barrel. He has broken with the president, as you mentioned, on Epstein, on the big, beautiful bill. He's a big critic of the war in Iran. And Trump, by his own admission, said he wanted, quote, a warm body to primary Tom Massie. He found it in Ed Gallurine. Right now, it looks from the polling like Gallurine might have a slight advantage, but this looks like it also could be kind of a close race. And I think the reasoning for that is that Massie has been this kind of lawmaker for the entire time that he's been in Congress. This is not specific to Donald Trump. He has often been the lonely Republican voting against everything from spending bills to measures about anti-Semitism. He is just often a no vote who says, I support what my constituents want. I hate government waste. And he's very well known. He's been in Congress for 14 years, and he has a really strong personal brand. So that's going to be the thing to watch here, is whether that brand can withstand $30 million of spending in this race, and Donald Trump just vehemently lashing him over and over on social media. Even Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth actually campaigned for Massie's opponent. So we'll have to see what happens here. I think you'd rather be Gallurine than Massie for going into this race, but it could be a little tighter than we think.
All right, Carrie, another race President Trump hopes will turn out in his favor. This is Georgia's gubernatorial primary. Let's talk through some of the details here. So he's endorsed Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones in the race to replace Governor Brian Kemp. He's term limited, but this field also includes Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Our viewers may remember that name. He clashed with President Trump after the 2020 election when Raffensperger refused to attempt to overturn the results of the presidential race in that state in Mr. Trump's favor. What can we expect here?
Well, I think what we're going to see is this race is almost destined to go to a runoff, both with Burt Jones, who, as you mentioned, has Donald Trump's endorsement. But actually, the candidate coming in on top here is Rick Jackson. He's a billionaire health executive who got into the race quite late and has spent now to the tune of, talking about money in politics, $62 million of his own money to boost himself. He's trying to find kind of a pro-Trump lane, even though he has not been endorsed by the president. Between Jones and Jackson, I think this will go to a runoff. It's unclear which of those candidates may come in first. It may be Jackson, which would be an interesting kind of, not necessarily a rebuke of the president in that Jones is going to go to the runoff and could very well win it in a number of weeks. Brad Raffensperger, who you mentioned, has not really gotten a lot of traction in this race. He does have a loyal following of those people who remember his role in the 2020 primary, but he is not beloved by the MAGA base, to say the very least. So I think we'll see this one go to a runoff with a whole lot of money left to be spent.
Carrie, today's Pennsylvania primary is going to set up the race for governor later this year. Democrat incumbent Josh Shapiro and Trump-backed Republican candidate, the state treasurer, Stacey Garrity, both are unopposed in their primary. So this is really just going to be a test of Shapiro's political strength later this year. Real quick, walk us through it.
Yeah, so this is a race that we have rated as solid Democrat. Josh Shapiro has a gargantuan amount of money in the bank. He has consistently high approval ratings. He's very influential in the Democratic base in the state. Stacey Garrity has sort of failed to gain a whole lot of traction. Things would really have to turn around in the state. Shapiro, I think, is using this time to build his national profile and maybe eye 2028.
Carrie Dann from the Cook Political Report. Good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Great to see you, Carrie.
Programming note, NBC News Now will have coverage of today's midterm primaries throughout the day today, and then we have extensive live coverage kicking off tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Well, let's get to weather now. Millions of people are waking up under the threat of severe weather this morning. Kansas and Nebraska were hit with a second night of strong storms that spawned several tornadoes. And it's not just tornadoes that are causing concern. Overnight thunderstorms brought torrential rainfall that caused flash flooding. All of this is as millions of people out west deal with red flag warnings. Fires like the one we're showing you right now are burning in California and spreading quickly, forcing people to evacuate their homes. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin is there in California. She has the latest.
Dangerous wildfires raging in the west. Thick plumes of smoke from Colorado to California, turning skies dark. The Sandy fire roaring through a residential neighborhood an hour outside of Los Angeles. Evacuation warnings issued as flames rapidly spread.
You can still see flames coming from this burned down home. Firefighters are sending water onto the property to try to prevent embers from being carried to other parts of the neighborhood.
Neighbors shaken by how close the flames got.
They saved our home. Thank God. The Lord just put his hand of protection over our property.
Noelle Hankinson says she rushed to pick up her 13-year-old son from school. The smoke close by.
I want to get here and get him, so scared about, the flames moving this way.
In Colorado, firefighters racing to put out this wildfire. Crews tackling the flames from above. This charred building still smoldering. Meanwhile, menacing funnel clouds tearing through America's heartland after a weekend of severe weather.
Wow. Oh my God.
This twister ripping through a field in Nebraska.
Breaking.
Debris flying through the air as a funnel cloud forms. The damage in St. Paul, devastating, tearing these homes from their foundations, leaving behind crumpled cars. On the East Coast, sweltering temperatures setting in. An extreme start to the week being felt coast to coast.
All right, our thanks to Dana Griffin for that report.
And we got more now on the potential for severe weather all across the country. So let's get a closer look with your morning News Now weather.
Al Roker joins us this morning. Al, good morning.
All right, thanks so much. We are looking at a whole lot of different kinds of weather all across the map. Heavy showers and thunderstorms right now between Kansas City, St. Louis. Probably going to see some airport delays later today. And in fact, we've got 53 million people at risk, stretching from Del Rio, Texas, all the way to Syracuse, New York. Wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, damaging winds. If there is any good news, it's that the tornado risk is low. However, we will be seeing rounds of rain, and so especially throughout parts of Texas, from Del Rio, Houston. Then we move on into parts of Louisiana, Mississippi. We could be looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain or more. Plus, here in the Northeast, only the second time since 2006 where we've seen heat advisories this early in New York City. 32 million people stretching from Philly to Boston. Temperatures are going to be awfully warm. In fact, through tomorrow, we've got records from Bangor, Maine, Charlottesville, Athens, Ohio. Look down to Johnson City and Lynchburg. We are looking at these temperatures. We could see records today for Bluefield, for Charlottesville at 97 degrees. Norfolk, 95, comes awfully close to their record. Knoxville could come close to that record of 93 degrees. Here in the Northeast, Syracuse, you may break a record. Newark, New Jersey, coming awfully close at 97. Columbus, Ohio, 90 degrees. That's, again, going to be chilly. Now let's go to the Rockies. We've got frost and freeze warnings up. Frost advisories, freeze warnings from Bismarck down to North Platte, Casper, Wyoming, Pocatello, Idaho. You may see those awfully chilly temperatures. Look at them right now. Temperatures in the low 20s to mid 30s. So temperatures awfully cool out there. And then in Los Angeles, where we've got some wildfires going, the wind forecast into this afternoon, 15 to 25 miles per hour out of the northeast, spreading smoke across a good portion of that region. They may be looking at air quality alerts later on today. And that is your latest weather. Back to you.
All right, Al, thank you so much. Well, this morning, hundreds of thousands of New York City-bound commuters are breathing a sigh of relief. That is because the Long Island Railroad strike has been settled after the MTA and representatives from 5 unions reached a new agreement overnight. Union members will still have to ratify that deal. Governor Kathy Hochul announced the deal last night, saying that it provides raises for workers while protecting riders and taxpayers. It comes just 3 days into the labor strike that shut down the nation's busiest commuter rail system. However, the system will not be back at full capacity until this afternoon. Well, a California jury has officially tossed out Elon Musk's federal civil lawsuit against OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman. That decision closes the book on a blockbuster trial that captivated the tech industry over the past 3 weeks. Musk had accused Altman of misleading investors like himself. He claimed that Altman violated a founding agreement of OpenAI to make it a for-profit company. Both men were co-founders of OpenAI. Now, the jury's verdict found that OpenAI, Altman, and co-founder Greg Brockman are not liable on all the claims. This is because Musk did not file the lawsuit before the statute of limitations deadline. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas is here with more on this. Danny, good morning. Okay, so let's just start right there because I think people might find it a little confusing. I certainly do. Why did we even get this far if he didn't file it before that deadline? What was that about? Why did we just discover that, land on that reasoning now after we've heard this entire trial unfold?
The statute of limitations is based on the idea that after a certain point, witnesses disappear, evidence gets stale. So what legislatures do is they pick an arbitrary date. And it varies from state to state. In this case, you'll say 3 years from the time of the incident. Now, oftentimes the incident is very easy to define. You have a motor vehicle accident. Oh, that's a crash. It happened on such and such a date. Well, Elon Musk in this case argued, as often people do when they're trying to avoid the SOL, the statute of limitations, that this was a continuing harm, that this deception or whatever it was went on such that every day it went on, it sort of reset the statute of limitations. Well, the jury didn't buy it. They said that this is something that occurred in 2019. The statute of limitations has long since passed, 3 years. So you are out of luck, plaintiffs. That's why SOL, statute of limitations, is also an acronym for something else, which I won't say on air, but you can figure it out. So
you said it, though.
They are out of luck.
I was thinking it, so thank you for pointing that out.
Out of luck, and that is what it means. And normally it's a major mistake by the attorneys to do that, but they had a fair enough argument. It's just that the jury didn't buy it.
Okay. Remind us what could have been at stake in this case.
Billions of dollars, maybe one of the biggest decisions or verdicts in American history. Huge money at stake here. And also we had a very interesting procedural thing here. We had what's called an advisory jury. Never had one of these. They're very rare, but it was because this was a claim for what's called an equitable trust. And you don't have a constitutional right to a jury trial for certain kinds of claims. So in this case, it's something in theory the judge could have heard. The judge just said, I want essentially a focus group to hear this, and she adopted all of their findings.
Musk says he plans to appeal this. What do you think the chances are there?
Well, their main argument is obviously going to be, look, the statute of limitations was not violated because this was a continuing harm. And in addition, the defendants here strung us along. And sometimes you can essentially pause the statute of limitations if you're being deceived about an incident. You see this a lot in medical malpractice cases. Well, somebody left a spoon in my body. Well, I had no idea until 10 years later when an X-ray found it. That might be an example of pausing the statute of limitations if the plaintiff has been deceived about the fact that something wrong was done to them. So those will be their arguments. It's going to be an uphill battle on appeal, though.
All right, Danny Savalos, thank you so much. Great to see you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.